Welcome to the 1997 High School Challenge, brought to you by KCRG TV9. And now, here's your host, Denny Frary.
Hello everybody and welcome to another first round matchup in the KCRG TV9 High School Challenge. We have two wonderful teams, both of whom have had a lot of success in past years in the series. We've got Linn-Mar and Kennedy with us. Let's first of all meet the team from Kennedy High School. Now first of all, the sophomores are Robert Channon, Aaron McGowan, Gavin Poindexter, and Tom Waller. The juniors are Fletcher Bain, Patrick Braheny, Pete Waller, and we've got Kevin Way there too. Seniors are Tom Bednar, Brian Johnson, and Adam Sorensen. The coach is Joyce Gaddy. Please give a nice warm welcome to Kennedy High School. Good to have you here. And the team from Linn-Mar High School has been one of the dominant teams in the metro area, of course, for the High School Challenge Series. Let's meet them now. First of all, we've got one sophomore, Andy Mills, with us, and also the juniors are Joe Nichols and Chris Lander and Rachel Rucker. The seniors are Franny Hamrick and Steve Welsh and Nitin Sika. And the acting coach is Deb Mills, substituting for our friend Pat Flater. Please say hello to Linn-Mar High School. Nice to have you folks here. Now, of course, hey, we got a good cheering section. Like to hear that. Of course, we have to have a judge for this show, and your host is not perfect. When I make a mistake, he'll correct me, and he'll also correct the teams involved here, but it's nice to have him. He's been for years and years over at Coe College. Please say hello to Jack Laugan. Jack, good to have you back. Now, through the generosity of KCRG TV9, I'm happy to say that no team will leave empty-handed, but what are the teams aiming for? Well, the grand prize winners will get $1,500 for their schools for new computer equipment, so that's kind of a nice deal. Here we go with another first-round matchup, Linn-Mar and Kennedy ready to go. Stay tuned, the rules and the first round coming up. Welcome back to the High School Challenge. We're ready to go now with the first round. We've got defending champions Kennedy with us today, and Linn-Mar also. And Linn-Mar has won numerous times in the past, so we can hardly wait to get going on this one. Now, just a quick explanation of the rules. I have a pile of questions in my hand. I will ask the question. The first team that sounds the buzzer will get an opportunity to answer. If they do so correctly, they win 5 points. And then they'll get a chance to answer the bonus question. If they get that one right, they'll get another 5 points. If, however, the first team buzzing in answers incorrectly, I'll turn to the opposing team, and they'll have a chance then to get 5 points on that toss-up and 5 points on the subsequent bonus. So here we go. Linn-Mar and Kennedy High School, we're ready to go. The category in the first question of the day is toys. These tricks can be performed with what toy? Walking the dog, and we go over to Andy for Linn-Mar.
Yo-yo.
Yo-yo is right, and 5 points on the board for Linn-Mar. So now we go to the bonus, and of course you can confer on the bonus, can't on toss-up. Here we go. The category is Old West. It took covered wagons 4 to 6 months to travel from Independence, Missouri, through Kansas and Nebraska to Fort Kearny, and then to Fort Laramie, over the Continental Divide to Fort Hall to Fort Boise, and then into the Columbia River Valley. Name the trail.
Oregon Trail.
You have to sound the buzzer first, just to be right. Joe?
Oregon Trail.
And you're right, another 5 points. So we're off and running. Linn-Mar is on the board, and they lead 10-0. But of course, it's still early going. Here's the next toss-up category now: veins. What veins receive the blood from the exterior of the cranium? Teams have 10 seconds. And we go to Joe. Linn-Mar.
Jugular.
Jugular veins is right again, another 5 for Linn-Mar. So you've built up a 15-0 lead. Now you can make it 20 with the bonus. The category elements. What element was discovered in the spectrum of sunlight before it was identified on Earth? I'm sorry, the buzzer sound. I thought I heard helium, and that was indeed the right answer. Sometimes you got to go for the gusto. But the score right now is 15-0, and Linn-Mar in the lead. Now, the next toss-up for both teams, sociology. The ability to climb the socioeconomic ladder is referred to as what kind of mobility? And we go to Franny for Linn-Mar.
Upward mobility.
Upward mobility is exactly right. So that's another 5 for Linn-Mar. So 20-0. Here's the bonus chance for you. The category borders. Identify the northwesternmost state whose northern and eastern borders join to form a 90-degree angle. And Franny.
Washington.
Washington is right, and you get the 5-point bonus. So it's 25-0. An early lead for Linn-Mar. Next toss-up for you, drugs. What 3-syllable adjective describes medications and drugs that require a physician's authorization for purchase? And we go to Andy for Linn-Mar.
Prescription.
Prescription is right again. Linn-Mar on a roll, another 5. Now the bonus opportunity for you, the American Revolution. In the summer of 1780, the commander of West Point contacted Major Andre in New York City and offered to surrender his post to the British. Name that commander. Joe?
Cornwallis?
I'm sorry, it was Benedict Arnold. We all knew him and loved him, right? Anyway, it's 30-0. Linn-Mar has the lead. Now back to the toss-up. Circles and angles. How many degrees are in the arc intercepted by a central angle of 26 degrees? And Andy for Linn-Mar.
26.
Is right, 26 degrees. So, Linn-Mar, another 5. Here's your bonus chance now. Think about this one. The category liquids. What is the 2-word name for the property of a liquid that makes a drop behave as though it were enclosed in an elastic skin? Andy.
Surface tension.
Surface tension is right. You folks are smart today. I'll tell you, very impressive. Very impressive beginning for Linn-Mar. But Kennedy's certainly not out of it yet. Here we go with the toss-up. Distribution. The limited distribution of a product or commodity so that everyone may receive a fixed amount is called... Andy for Linn-Mar.
Rationing.
Rationing is right, and 5 points for Linn-Mar. The category now is eligibility on the bonus. A person who has just become eligible to be President of the United States is how much older than a person who has just become eligible to be a member of the House of Representatives?
35 for president and 28 for representative.
That was close. Judge, what do you think?
I would say let them answer it.
Okay, you got a chance to answer.
7 years?
I'm sorry, the answer is 10 years. You have to be 25 for the House and 35 to be president. So in a few years, I can run for president. Okay, 45-0, and Linn-Mar has the lead. Population growth on the toss-up. The rapid growth of the American population in the 2 decades after World War II is characterized, and we go to Franny for Linn-Mar.
Baby boomers.
Or baby boom.
That's acceptable.
That's acceptable. You get 5 points. Nice going, Linn-Mar. Here's the category for the bonus now, organizations. The following were early examples of what kind of organization? New York Printers, Pittsburgh Shoemakers, Society of Journeyman Cordwainers. And Franny.
Union.
Acceptable.
Or labor union. You're right again, another 5. So Linn-Mar is kind of taking charge here in the early going. The transitive property is the toss-up. According to the transitive property, if z equals 2x and 2x equals 8, then z equals, and we go to Andy for Linn-Mar.
8.
8 is right. Another 5 for Linn-Mar. Well, momentum clearly on the side of Linn-Mar. Here's the bonus, and this will close out the first round for us now. Communications. This communication by Ulysses Grant was written to whom? General. In accordance with the substance of my letter to you on the 8th, I propose to receive the surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia on the following terms.
Or Stone.
Joe?
Grant.
I'm sorry, Grant wrote the letter, but it was to Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee is the answer, but that was just a small flaw. I'll tell you, very impressive performance by Linn-Mar. The score is 60-0, but I have a hunch Kennedy is about to stage a comeback, and we'll have this word from Kennedy High School. Be right back with more of the High School Challenge. Don't go away. The score right now is 60 for Linn-Mar, nothing yet for Kennedy High School, but here in the second round things can change big time. And the reason is the rules remain the same, except the point totals for both the toss-up and the bonus are doubled. In other words, everything is worth 10 points. So we've seen a lot of changes over the course of time, and we may well in this game. So let's get going. Here we go on the toss-up question, defending champion Kennedy and Linn-Mar. The category is exponents. 3 to the negative second power equals what common fraction?
1/9.
And we go to Patrick for Kennedy.
1/9.
1/9 is right, and Kennedy on the board.
You got a point. Nice.
So it happened finally. You broke the ice here. Now here's a chance to add to that in your bonus category. Government assistance. Special coupons are provided by the government to qualifying poor people who may use them for groceries. Identify these coupons.
Food
Brian.
stamps.
Food stamps is right again, another 10 points. Kennedy on the board, and suddenly it is 60-20. Here's the next category, sessions. This quote is from an 1819 agreement between the U.S. and what country? His Catholic Majesty cedes to the United States all the territories which belong to him, situated to the eastward of the Mississippi, known by the name of East and West Florida. And we go to Brian. Kennedy.
Spain.
Spain is right. 10 more points for Kennedy High School. So you've really sliced that lead. It was 60-0. Now it's 60-30. Could be 42 on your side if you answer this correctly. The bonus for you now, fellas. Physical phenomena. What could be described as a series of air pressure waves or alternate peaks of high pressure waves and troughs of low pressure waves traveling through the atmosphere? Brian?
Sound.
Sound is right again. Kennedy on the board with 10 more points. 60-40. I said things could change. I didn't know it'd be quite this quick, but here we go. Amendments on the toss-up. According to the First Amendment, Congress may make no law abridging the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of... And we go to Gavin for Kennedy.
Laws.
Laws is incorrect, so we go over to Linn-Mar. Grievances is the answer, so nobody got that. That's one of the few times so far. Here we go, 60-40 again. Linn-Mar clinging to that lead. The next category for the toss-up is El Alamein. El Alamein was a decisive World War II battle in North Africa between German and Italian troops led by Erwin Rommel and the British 8th Army under what general? Brian for Kennedy.
Montgomery.
Acceptable.
It's Bernard Montgomery. You got 10 points for Kennedy. Now, amazingly enough, it's 60-50. You could tie the game if you answer this correctly on the bonus. Games, the category. The International Olympic Committee selected what city as the site for the Summer Olympics in the year 2000? Brian.
Sydney, Australia.
Sydney is right, and we have a tie game. 60 apiece, folks, and now we go to the next toss-up. European changes. On January 1st, 1993, the former nation of Czechoslovakia was divided into how many countries? And Brian for Kennedy.
2.
2 is right. Kennedy forges into a lead here. It's 70-60. Talk about a turnaround. Wow. Here's the bonus chance for you now. Vocabulary. The word chortle is a blend of chortle and snort. What 2 words were blended to give us the word dumbfound? I'm sorry, the buzzer sounds, so it's too late, but the answer is dumb and confound. I've been confounded a lot, I'll tell you that. Here we go. The score is 70-60, the next toss-up now. Kennedy in a 10-point lead. Fitness. What is the slang phrase for the rolls of fat around the midriff? And Brian for Kennedy.
Love handles.
Love handles is right. 10 more points for Kennedy. And here's your bonus chance. And why'd you look at me when you gave that answer, too? Writers is the category for the bonus. And don't do that again. Writers the category. What president gave the name muckrakers to a group of American writers and journalists who exposed corruption and exploitation in business and politics in the early 1900s? Brian.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Theodore Roosevelt. You're right again. Another 10 for Kennedy. So you've shoved the score now to 90 to 60. And here's the toss-up. Bird travel. An extraordinary hummingbird travels 550 miles in 1 hour, 50 minutes. If it maintained this speed, how far would it travel in 2 hours, 10 minutes? That's tough. And Andy for Linn-Mar.
620 miles.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. We go over to Kennedy. Gavin.
635.
So close, 650. 650. We had 620 and 635. Okay, now here's the next toss-up for you. Casting. The white plaster used in molds to produce sculptural forms is named after what? And we go to Andy for Linn-Mar.
Paris.
Paris is right. Another 10 points for Linn-Mar. So this will be the bonus question, and also we'll close out the second round with this. And here's the category, evidence. What is the 5-syllable term for evidence that cannot be disproved? Andy.
Disreputable.
The answer was disresputable.
That is incorrect.
It has to be irrefutable was what we were looking for, but the score is 90 to 70, so we do have a close game, but what a comeback by Kennedy High School. Now a word from Linn-Mar High School, and we'll be back with the final round of the High School Challenge. You don't want to miss that. Stay with us. Well, things really do change. After the first round, Linn-Mar held a 60-0 lead over Kennedy here in the High School Challenge. And now after round 2, Kennedy has roared back to take a 90-70 lead. But now here we come into the valedictorian round, and things really do change now. The thing is, I will ask questions. I'll continue to do that. The first team that sounds the buzzer will have an opportunity to answer. If they do so correctly, they win 15 points. If, however, they answer incorrectly, we deduct 15 points from their total. So they better be sure probably when they answer, but this makes it kind of fun. And so no more going back and forth between the teams. This is the final round, the valedictorian round, and it's 90 to 70, Kennedy in the lead right now. Here we are with the category for the first question I'll ask, speakers. The small speakers in a music system which are most efficient. And we go to Tom for Kennedy.
Tweeters.
Tweeters is right. 15 points for Kennedy. Wow. Very impressive. So your total is now up to 105, I believe. 105. Now Europe is the next category. Europe. Identify the southwesternmost European country. And we go to Andy for Linn-Mar.
Portugal.
Portugal is right. 15 points for Linn-Mar. So still at a 20-point margin. It's 105 to 85. Next question. Quadratics. If x squared minus 1 equals 0, then what are the two possible, and we go to Tom for Kennedy.
1 and negative 1.
1 or minus 1 or negative 1. You're right again. 15 points for Kennedy. Well, you climbed to 120. 120 is the total so far for Kennedy. Historical drama. Robert Bolt's drama, A Man for All Seasons, describes Sir Thomas More's fatal conflict with what king? Five seconds goes by. Henry VIII is the answer. Nobody got that, obviously. It's 120 to 85. Kennedy with the lead. Next category, arrests. What young tennis star forfeited millions of dollars of and we go to Tom for Kennedy.
Jennifer Capriati.
Is right again. 15 points for Kennedy. Jennifer Capriati. Voting is the next category now. A person who has a residence in Texas, a summer home in Idaho, and a place of business in Vermont could be a registered voter for a national election in how many precincts? And we go to Pete for Kennedy.
1.
1 is right, and that was a kind of a trick question, but you got it right. Well, Kennedy, very impressive right now, but Linn-Mar, I have a hunch they're going to come back here. Money. The Great Seal of the United States appears on the back of a $1 bill. Included in that seal is an unfinished pyramid. What date is found at the base of this pyramid? And we go to Andy for Linn-Mar.
1776.
Is right. 15 points is added to the score now for Linn-Mar. So it is 150 to 100. Here's the next question. West Indies. The introduction of what agricultural crop in 1644 was a boon to the development? And we go to Andy for Linn-Mar.
Tobacco.
I'm sorry, the answer is sugarcane. It's sugarcane, so we have to deduct 15 from your total, so you go back down to 85. It's 150 to 85. Work problems. Building a barn was to take 25 days with a crew of 8. With a crew of 10, how many days will this job take? And we go to Robert for Kennedy.
20.
20. 20 is right. 15 points for Kennedy High School. Wow, this is something. Word choice, the category. What word should have been used in this sentence? All American citizens have the inalienable right to petition Congress without being put in jail. And we go to Tom Kennedy.
Petition.
Petition is right, and so you get another 15 points. Somebody has the loudest applause I've ever heard in my life. But that's okay. We're having fun. Okay, here's the next category. Parking. Well, there weren't any parking places near the bookstore, so you just parked for a few minutes on the street side of another parked car. Upon your return, you found you got a ticket. For what offense? Andy, Linn-Mar?
Double parking.
Is right. We add 15 to Linn-Mar. So motion picture is the next category here. Just want to check, is that score right? 160 to 135, is that what we have? Okay. No, it's a little further away than that. Motion pictures, considered by many critics to be one of the greatest films ever made. Name this movie modeled after the life of William Randolph. And we go to Nitin for Linn-Mar.
Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane is right, and so you get another 15 points here. Linn-Mar catching up. Addresses. What president, in his farewell address, criticized the baleful effects of a partisan political squabbling and urged the people to avoid inveterate antipathies and passionate attachments to any foreign nation? The buzzer sounds, and the answer is George Washington.
Can I get my buzzer to work then?
Oh, your buzzer wasn't working?
I buzzed and it didn't buzz.
Oh, well, what do you think, Judge?
No question. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll just go ahead to the next question here. The colonial period is the next category here in the valedictorian round. The colonial period. What two states were formed from the land between the colonies of Georgia and Virginia? And Tom Kennedy.
North Carolina and South Carolina.
Is right, Tom. All right, 15 more points. So you climb another 15 up the ladder. You have 195, and it's 115 for Linn-Mar. The next question, burns. What is the two-word classification for burns in which both the epidermis and dermis, and we go to Andy for Linn-Mar.
Third degree.
Third degree is right, 15 points for Linn-Mar. So you come back to 130. Next category, earth-shaking irony. The memorabilia of the man who invented the scale for measuring earthquake magnitude. And Pete for Kennedy.
Richter.
Or Charles Richter?
That's acceptable.
That's acceptable. You have 15 points for Kennedy. And you're heading towards a lot of points here, I'll tell you. Outlaws, the next category. What legendary outlaw did Ivanhoe identify as Locksley? And we go to Robert for Kennedy.
Robin Hood.
Is right again. 15 points for Kennedy High School. So you moved up to 225, I believe now. Writing is the category. What error in composition is illustrated in the sentence below? They told me to connect together the ropes and hoist up the sail. Tom Kennedy.
Redundancy.
Redundancy, that is right again. 15 more points for Kennedy. So you're up to 240. Here's the next one. Europe. What principality located along the Mediterranean Sea is surrounded by France on three sides? And we go to Robert Kennedy.
Monaco.
Monaco is right, and there's another bunch of points for you. Inventors, the category. Who is the American inventor described below? He established a factory at the site of present-day Whitneyville, Connecticut. And we go to Tom Kennedy.
Eli Whitney.
Is right again. I'll tell you, Kennedy is very impressive today. Artists, this is about whom? A single one of his statues, Moses or Lorenzo de' Medici, would have made him immortal. He said he was no painter, but he decorated the ceiling of the Sistine, and we go to Linn-Mar. Andy.
Michelangelo.
Is right. 15 points for Linn-Mar. Here we go with the last question of the game. Heat. The amount of heat needed to melt a unit mass of a substance at its normal melting point is called the heat, and we go to Nitin.
Capacity.
I'm sorry, the answer is fusion, so we do have to deduct a total there, but the total for Linn-Mar is 130 and 270 for Kennedy, and defending champion Kennedy wins again. Congratulations to Kennedy High School. But before we go, of course, the team from Linn-Mar will not leave empty-handed. You put on a spirited fight here, and you leave with $250 in our thanks for playing the high school challenge. You've been a good team. And congratulations to Kennedy. They're in the Final Four. That's it for today's edition of the High School Challenge. We hope you can join us next week as we have another exciting matchup. This is going to be fun, folks, so stay with us, and we'll see you next Saturday.